Welcome to West Virginia Commonplace. I'm your host, JR, and today's episode is entitled Being Poised is My Poison. Poised is a way that keeps you kind of level, calm in situations. And from a business perspective, it keeps you aligned real good. And in a mental health space, being poised takes a lot of practice. And over time, it will get you envied by people in the mental health aspect. And in that portion, we'll deal with that. But the first portion we'll deal with is how you become poised. Becoming poised over time, you become a skilled conversationalist. And being skilled in conversation is being able, being educated on a few topics here and there and learning from people. But the greatest thing about being a conversationalist is knowing when you lead the conversation and when you don't need to lead the conversation. Sometimes that listening ear is the better ear than being the lead on the conversation and trying to tailor it a certain way. Sometimes it's better to gather the facts and, listening. And the way that I ask open-ended questions, rather than, when you're doing an interview, it's closed in yes or no type stuff. And, all those active listening skills and things that you get from people. And like the feedback that I get back, I get feedback that's going to validate someone. Sometimes it may hurt someone, but I'm going to give them something that's going to validate them. And one thing that I do with being poised is I focus on the positive. We got a lot of negative going on. I don't do much negative. My mentality and openness to finding a resolve to something, that's what I'm here to do. That's what I try to do. And being assertive, it's just something that I have to use with staying poised. Like, I'm assertive, but I'm respectful to people. I'm not going to just sit here and yell at you and tell you, hey, you got to do this way, or I did this in podcasting, so this should work for you. No. I'm going to be like, this is how I did this. This may work for you. I'm not going to sit out here and gas somebody up and make them think that they're going to be the next big thing, hype them up, get them in a situation where they feel like they're going to be better than what they already are today. I'm just going to tell them that, hey, there's certain ways that you can do things to get different results. That's what my key thing is inside podcasting. I don't sit here to tell anyone that you're going to make $1 million or you're going to even make $1,000 or you're going to be able to pay for that Rodecaster, that Zoom recorder, or even that Yeti mic. But I do tell people that if you are poised, if you have a position that gives you a certain balance over other people, that takes care of mental frustration, it takes care of anxiety. If you grasp things in life like this, and we're talking about being poised here, I didn't just get this overnight. I had issues, and I've never suffered from anxiety or anything like that, but I've had like stuff that kind of, made me have to pivot and change my thought on certain things. But when I got to a certain area, these were two key things that I learned in life: perception and reception. The reception is the podcast that I deliver to you guys. That's exactly what you're going to get. What I send to you. The perception is what you do with it. That's how you perceive it. I cannot help dictate, run, or fix any way that you perceive anything I do. When I start caring about stuff like that, that's when I need to get out of podcasting. That's when you should really take time for yourself, because that's not part of being poised. Poised is that I'm going to present you with a podcast. Hope that you enjoy it. If you do not enjoy it, there is another table that you can go to that week and listen to another podcast. I cannot concentrate on any effort but giving the same product that I desired to put out for your reception. Your perception, I do not care about, because your perception is an opinion you have this week. Next week, you might love my podcast. The week after, you may not like it. So, to podcasters, I say this real strongly. Worry about the reception, but not the perception. Because there's some people out here that do podcasts that, they're your average day trash collector during the week, but on the weekend, they're the greatest personality on radio or on podcasting. So, to not take away from anybody any skill set or what they're doing, being poised is a poison, because when people get around you that are not poised, that are inadequate, and I am using the word inadequate in stability, because stability is a very hard thing to maintain and manage. It has a really negative effect on them, because even though their outer side is praising what you're doing, their inner side is really hurting because they have not developed a course of action to be poised. And some people are not going to be poised. Some people are going to be frantic and scantic and have all, and scantic's the word I just made up. They're going to be rambunctious and running around doing all this extra stuff that they have to do to survive because that's how they live. So that's why it's my poison. My poison is because when I help people, people see how poised I am. They see how charismatic certain things I do, but how straightforward, and I don't have very many deviations from what I do. And when they see that kind of structure, it has taken a lot of discipline. It's taken a lot of rejection. It's taken a lot of hurt, heartache, and stuff to become poised. It was not like this was a gift. It was not like this was something that was just given to me. Oh, hell no, it was not. And when people see that, they want that really fast. And they think that, oh, I can get it. It's manufactured. It's something that's just in a nutshell that I crack open and I get it. No, it is not. So these people try to use these type of energies and try to flow the same way that I do in business, flow the same way I do with how I podcast, flow with the way that I connect with people and how I do things. And you're not being poised when you're doing it, but you think you are, and it hurts you later. And then in turn, when I see it, that's when I disconnect from those people. That's when I move away from the people because I've started to realize that, hey, it's not my fault, but me being poised is poison to other people who have instability, and don't have that kind of structure and that kind of build. So the way that I can work this stuff out and to take this detriment away from myself is this. I've always kept it very open on what I say to people. I try to make people feel so comfortable in what I'm saying that it may become part of their persuasion. If it doesn't, that's fine. But inside podcasting and inside life, there's poised people and there are people that are not poised. If you're going to be someone that's poised, you have to walk around with a warning label that no one else can see, a proverbial warning label saying that, hey, this construction over here was built over time. This was not something that happened overnight. And when you can do that, that's when you can spread joy to the world. You can help other people do this and that, and you can make magic. And inside podcasting, I'm saying this to podcasters right now. So listen, I'm going to take a breath real quick. Your design for your podcast is your design solely. People can tell you certain ways to tweak your podcast. People can tell you certain ways to make money inside podcasting. And when people are telling you certain ways to make money inside podcasting, that is from trial and error of their podcast, not yours. No one sat there and, no one's sitting there with teams and looking over your podcast and saying that I can help you here. I can do this and that. I can make your dreams come true. No, that is not the reality. People are simply stating this. Hey, I did search and such with a search engine, and this is how I got my SEO optimization. I sat here, I worked with a group of people that have paved the way, who made money, who make a living at this. And this is how I proceeded with what their knowledge and information was. And this is how I carried it. Then my business demeanor, that's the part of being poised that so many people do not get. Being poised is this one thing. I know how to stay on a level field when it comes to my business. Sometimes in my personal life and dealing with the random podcaster before I got back to the business, I was a little irrational. And I realized that I wasn't being poised anymore. So I stepped away from that arena. If you're podcasting podcasts for the meaning of what you're doing, that's being poised. Being poised is doing what I'm doing right now, doing this episode. Because I've had some people that I've had to drop off of my catalog, off of my circle, because these people weren't having the same energy as me towards what I was doing and what I was trying to do for them. They never were poised and conditioned for that stuff. So at the end of the day, I realized that, hey, no amount of me saying this or that or doing this and that is going to fix that. So let me just let these people go. They go do their thing and we'll all stay successful in podcasting, but they just won't be poised. So you're a fledgling podcaster. You're a person living your life. Being poised is a recognition that you get. It's almost like having a bit of elegance. Poised, just to me, is just real simple. It's having a composed and self-assured manner. I know that I'm going to do good in podcasting. That is the first affirmation. And I am not no life coach. I am nothing to that degree. But you can easily go out here and figure out how to be graceful. You don't have to be elegant, but you do got to have a little grace to you. Or you can just be composed and have a self-assured manner that you are going to do good in whatever you're doing today. It doesn't have to be podcasting, it could be your life. And if you can keep that rhetoric up, then it will go further. But if you cannot stay composed and stuff like that, then being poised will not be a quality. And being around people that are poised will poison you, because you'll think that you're doing what those same people are doing and you're not. And that frustration builds up, and then people with anxiety, it really eats away at them, because, something can happen and something can trigger something in them and take them out of their game. It'll take away their self-assurance. It can take away them being composed. So anyone with anxiety, what I'm saying to you is this: be okay, be in love with who you are, and what anxiety has, its positives and negatives for you. But in turn, the person that does not have anxiety, that deals with these people, that is the poised one in the group that's giving poison, just be cautious of the people around you, because you can't figure every person out that's running with you, that's aligning with you, that likes what you're doing. So I say this, and I just want this to be a complete challenge to people that are not poised and that suffer from anxiety. If you know your issues and you can address them and certain things don't trigger you, you can build composure around that. And once you do that, then you're poised. And I hated to go into a tangent about it, but it was one of these deals where I was just talking to someone, and I've noticed things that go on with certain people in my life. And I noticed that, like, some of the things I do with staying so composed and staying structured in what I do, it was crippling people around me. So I just got rid of those people. Let them live their life. Let them not mess up my floor or take away my peace, but I wasn't going to let me break down their peace or whatever establishment of happiness or sadness that they like to keep in their lives. So dealing with this mental health month, and dealing with mental health regardless, those are the type of things that you got to do for people. A little bit of compassion, a little bit of decency when it comes to other people's feelings on that notion are fine. Not being a people pleaser or nothing like that, because that's not what I'm saying, but being poised is a poison. And on that note, this is JR from West Virginia Commonplace. I'm going to be signing off. And on that note, I just wanted to add in this one last thing. The more and more you get into life, not podcasting, the more and more poised you have to be, because there's people that don't have the mentality, the mental space to act accordingly. And people won't act accordingly once they find out that they can run over you with their behaviors. So staying poised, taking the wall to certain situations instead of coming off that wall onto people, saves yourself a lot of heartache. And it does one thing to the people that seek that attention. It takes it away from them. It's not giving them that attention that they want.